Hi guys, welcome to Next Level Scorer Session 5. Welcome to all those that have been on board for all 5, or counting tonight's sessions. Hope you've learned a lot, and just want to congratulate those that have been doing their level 1s. Is it Marie that's just been
Yep.
being out there for everybody
Well, no,
to participate in?
it's all of the assessments. So we've
Okay.
been doing. We've had people doing the foundation, level 1 and level 2.
Oh, awesome.
So we've got. I sent the invite out to some of the people who had particularly done level 1 and level 2, so that we could go through a few of the plays there and refresh those. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's really timely that we've got these sessions going for everybody that is getting onto the things online. For those that haven't been in on any of the sessions, so maybe not some people there, what we'll do is if you've got any questions, you can either type it in. Hopefully that's available. I did check the settings. It should be available to everybody. And I can read it out to Marie. I will be here for the whole session this time, which is quite nice. Or if you do need to, usually just raise your hand if you're going to, so we know to stop, so we don't have to get voices over each other. And I'll keep an eye on that for Marie, so that I can bring you on to ask a question or add to something, because adding to the discussion is always nice, and always nice to get other people's input with things. So, without holding us up any longer, I'm going to pass over to Marie and enjoy the session.
Hi, and it's good to see a few people. Welcome to a few people who have come in, who I know have done the the level 1. So that's really great to have you here. Yeah. Okay. So what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to go over a couple of the plays, a few of the plays in the game that we had for the assessment. The game that we did have for the assessment, it was a game from the 2018 Women's World Championships with between New Zealand and South Africa. New Zealand won it, which was good. And so there was lots of action on the New Zealand side, but a bit less on the South African side. So we're just going to pick a few different plays with this one and just talk through them and then show what happened. So just what we've done in the last few weeks. So I will get the slideshow running and then go and share my screen. Hang on, I'm just getting there. I've lost the screen share. Now I've got it back again. There. And Anthea, can you confirm that we can see their next level scorer?
Yep, we've got that.
Okay. Right. So we're at the top. We're going to do the whole of the first innings because there's a few interesting things there, and we'll talk about some of the things as we go along. So batting is Van Mollendorf, and here's the situation, the play. The pitch comes down. She hits it, and it's caught by the third base over her head. There. Shows it again. We know these show a second time. I don't know why they do. So as you can see there, it's the third base that's taken the out. So what we do is it's an F5. So just put the F5 and don't forget it is the start of the innings. So we're going to be filling in the innings in the boxes at the top of the score sheet. So we can see there's the one up the top there. So it's a fairly standard F5 out. Now we go on to the next batter. So we're skipping a bit of the pitches, which saves a bit of time. And we've got Michaela Wedahiko in the box. Lovely Cantabrian lady. And she hits the ball. And it goes out to centre field. Oops, underneath the centre field. And Michaela scampers round to third base there. So we're having a look at this again. It actually comes off the pitcher's glove, but the pitcher really wouldn't have been able to have that. Second base wouldn't have had it, but it does. The centre fielder should have had it. So we won't go through it again. So what we're going to do, as I said, although the hit came off the glove of the pitcher, it was a reflex action, so there's no error. So some people, you hear some people say, oh, if it comes off the glove, it's got to be an error. No, forget that. That's a fallacy. Okay, so there's no error, right? Because if she'd had it, it would have been a brilliant play, and we've talked about brilliant plays. But the centre fielder should have fielded it cleanly. Had she, it probably would have been a single base hit, okay? So that's where we put the safe hit to 8, right? With the single base. The misplay allowed the runner to go to third. So you advance the runner 2 bases on the error. So you see there the E8, and that's in the box going to second, and then we put the arrow round to third, okay? We use a connector there between the first and the second base to show that it's a continuation of the same play, right? And we're also using a small e in the E8 rather than a capital E to show that it's an advance error. Okay, so just giving a definition of what an advance error is and an out error is, just a reminder. An advance error is an error that allows a runner to advance 1 or more bases because of the error. They advance the base. So you always score that with a small e. Now that's as opposed to the other type of error, which is an out error. And so that's an error that we say prolongs the life of the batter. That is, the batter would have been out but for the error, and you score that with a capital E. So for example, and we're going to come up against one later on, and I'll point it out when we do, it could be a dropped catch. So that would be an F for the fly ball, E, big E, and then 8, because the life of that batter had been prolonged. They would have been out but for that out. Hopefully that's got it there. We'll go on to it because we've got a couple of error plays coming along. Right, on to the next play. So this time we've got Ellie Cooper in the box. And why is it not? Oops. Hang on, we're doing funny things here. I don't know why we'll try again. No, hang on. Yeah, there we go. Got it going. It's a bit hard to see, but it's thrown out to centre field, who picks the ball, who catches the ball, and after the catch, the runner goes from third base. We'll see if we can see it again a bit better. Yeah, this might be a bit better. No, it's not. It's quite fuzzy. You see, she's caught it there. She throws it home, throws it into 2, and then home, but the runner manages to be able to scamper home before the play there. So this is a sacrifice fly. Game situation, we talked about what's needed for sacrifices. 1 out, right? So sacrifices with either none out or 1 out, so less than 2 down, a runner on third base. So for a sacrifice fly, you need to have a runner on third base. The catch in centre field, which is the F8, because the runner scores after the catch, it means it becomes a sacrifice fly. So we include the SH, right? So there you can see in the pink box with the 2 there, it's an SH F8, right? So SH for the sacrifice, F8 to show that it's a fly ball. And then for the runner coming home, you can see there with the other pink circle, it's SH of the batter number. So you include the batter number. So Ellie Cooper is the third batter. lineup, so it's SH of beta 3, so that beta number advances them. Okay, and so you can see there, you can see a connection there, SH, SH. You don't need to put the F again. And it also becomes an RBI, a run batted in. So you can see there the scorer who scored this, and this is actually our statistician, Lynette Leithart, has scored this game. She's got a dot there beside that play, and so when you're starting to get advanced and things like that and starting to get into your analysis and stuff like that, if you put a dot when that runner scores, that when you go to count up the runs batted in, you just look for those dots before the beside the play. But that's, you know, we're getting a bit advanced there, but just letting you know that one. Okay, the next innings here, our next batter, we've got Lara Andrews, and we'll try and do that without having it. There we go. Yeah. The ball, again, the ball is hit out to right field or centre right, and then it's thrown in. So this is a fairly standard one base hit. So you score it as a one base hit. You could put the hit to either right field, so just 9, or you could put, because it was a bit between the centre and the right, even though the right field picked it up, when you're doing hits, you put them to where they go in the field rather than to the fielder. So because it was picked up in between centre and right, it's not incorrect to have 8, 9 or 9. Shows you the direction. Personally, if it was me, I would put 8, 9, but some, like Lynette, will just put the 9. Okay, next play is we've got Hayley Breakwell. And we've got one ball here. And as you notice, as the ball is pitched, and it looks as though it's spilled, but notice the umpire has just put his hands up there. And that shows it's a dead ball, right? So when the umpire puts their hands up like that, that shows it's a dead ball. Hayley goes down to first base, and it's actually on the hit pitch. So we're going to sort of see it again, although you don't really see that it's a hit pitch. And have a look for that umpire putting their hands up there. See, the umpires put the hands up to show that it's a dead ball. When the ball, when it is a hit pitch, it becomes a dead ball. And of course, the runner advances to second base. I'm just going to show it again. So here, hit by pitch there, and the runner advances on the hit pitch with the batter number. We're including the batter number. Okay. Right, the next one we've got Crystal Hoani batting, and we've got one ball. So just have a watch of this play here. The pitch comes down. And the catcher loses it, right? Definitely the catcher should have had that, right? So the runners advance a base. Okay, we're going to have it, we'll have a look at it again. Have a look here. And you can see it's just escaped. You had it and then lost it. And so the runners go the extra base. So that's a pass ball. We won't show it again. I can click through it. No, it's not letting us click through. There we go. So the pitch gets away from the catcher. It allows the runners to advance. The catcher should have been able to control that pitch using ordinary effort. And that's the phrase we have, if you remember, ordinary effort. Therefore, it's a pass ball, PB. It isn't an E2. And I know there were quite a few people who did put a E2, or they might have put, some of them put PB E2. It's not an E2. Pass balls and wild pitches are what are called battery errors. They actually aren't scored as an error with an E, but they're actually they're defined as battery errors. So in a way they are errors, but they're not scored as errors. Sounds confusing, but they're pass balls. So any pitch where somebody advances on a pitch like that, whether it's a wild pitch or a pass ball, you don't score an error on either the pitcher or the catcher or anything like that. It's a pass ball. You score the lead runner, so that's the runner going to third base, with the PB, with capital letters. So see there, it's got a capital P and capital PB. You score the other runner, so that's the runner going to second, with a small letters, with small letters PB. So you can see there it's like a small b. This means that when you're counting up the number of pass balls in the innings, you only count the ones with capital letters, so you don't double count them, because sometimes it could be quite easy to double count them. And sometimes if you've got other people analysing your game, which sometimes happens, it's a lot easier for them to pick up whether it's one or two pass balls. You do the same for wild pitches. You do a WP on the lead one, and if there's another runner advances as well, you do it with the small letters. Okay. So we're going to carry on with Krista batting. So you see now the count is 3 and 2. And it's a ball for a walk. So that's a fairly easy one. Count is 3 balls, 2 strikes. Fourth ball is a walk. Because the runners were already at second and third, they don't advance. So it's just a BB. And you can see there, that's the BB. Right, we've got Mel Gettins who's batting now. And we've got loaded bases, if you can see there up in the top, up the top there, you can see the bases are all loaded within the scoreboard there, or they're all coloured in. And the pitch comes down. And the ball gets hit out there to centre field, and it's a fly ball out, and that's the end of the innings. Okay, so we'll just click through it. So it's a catch in centre field. It's an F8. It ends the innings. Don't forget to put the ABCs in the runners left on base, okay? And you place a line across the box of the next batter in the same innings to end the innings, okay? So we're going to go on a wee bit and I'm just going to go over the end of innings analysis for this innings. And I said we would start to have a look at analysis. So we're going to start with the end of innings analysis there. So we've got there at the bottom of the first innings column that it's the runs scored in the innings, and then the cumulative runs. So because this was the first innings, there was 1 run scored for a total of 1 run. Then the hits. So this is the safe hits only. Don't include any hit balls that aren't safe hits. So there were 2 safe hits. So that's 2 safe hits. And because it was loaded bases, it was 3 runners left on base. Okay, so the runners left on bases. Then the strikeouts and the walks. And then in there, we've got wild pitches, pass balls, inning pitches. So you can see there, we've got a 1 in that middle box that shows the pass balls. And remember when I was talking about counting how many, you only count the ones with the capital letters. So there was only 1. Underneath there is the fielding analysis. So who took the outs? Okay. Across the first line is any assists. There were no assists in that innings. Okay. I will show you a bit later on where there are assists, how you do those. And then the fielders' numbers of those who took the outs. So there was the first out was the F5, so if we put the 5, and then the next 2 outs were both F8, so 8 and 8. And if you remember, there was an error. That was the one that the centre field muffed in the field there. So you put the 8 there for the E. When you're scoring, it makes it a lot easier as you score to put the those fieldings do that fielding analysis as it goes. So when an out's taken, put the net fielder number down there. When the assist goes there, so assist, it would be a 6. If it was say a 6-3 play, the 6 would be in the assist and the 3 would be in the put out. And then when the fielder makes the errors, put the errors down there. It means that you don't forget them. Quite often it's so easy to miss an error if you don't put them down and you're trying to go back over the innings. But again, if lots of things are happening, don't worry about that. Catch up on it later. But if you've got the time, put those fielding stats there. Okay. Going on to the next. Now we're just going to I've just picked a selection of plays here, going on with these ones. Probably because I didn't have much time. I didn't have enough time to do it all. So I thought, well, after the first innings, I'll do a few selections. So this is the top of the second innings, and Ngaire White is batting. Oops, ignore that wee box in the middle there. That shouldn't be there. And the ball is hit there out to centre field. It hits on the fence behind, but if we have a look at it again, if you can see it without see it beyond the wee box I've got there, it shows what we're scoring it as. She's going back quite a bit. It would have been, if you have a think about it, when we have a look at the extent of whether it's a hit or an error, and we've talked about would people have said great catch and would have been worthy of applause. If so, and with that one, if you think about it, it would have been a fantastic catch. So score it as a hit. Excuse me a minute, would you? Sorry, just got a cough there. There's no error, so it has to be a 2-base hit. Okay. Sorry, so just moving on. Then the next batter is Palace Potter. And you'll see why I've included this one. So we've got the runner on 2, if you remember. Ngaire White's on 2. And the ball there is hit to the shortstop, who throws it to the second. Now, it's actually a catch. It's a low, flat drive. Having a look at this, and sorry, they're a bit fuzzy. But there, see, it's a catch. And then the runner had led off the base and so failed to tag up, so it's a double play. So it's a low straight ball caught by the shortstop, so it's a D6. The runner had left off the base, so shortstop throws the ball to second base for the out, failure to tag up. It's just a straight 6-4 there. But it is a double play, so don't forget those double play triangles. So you see there with the D6, we've got one there up the top there, and then we've got another one up the top of the where the 6-4 is. Now, in some parts, and this is what Lynette has scored there. You can see that she's got that line there, and she's showing that that's actually going back to second base. That's sort of optional. We haven't officially brought that in. If you want to do that, absolutely fine, do it. But if you don't do it, it's not wrong. It's not wrong either. It's just something that, as I said, it's sometimes a bit of a regional difference there that we have. And who knows, at some stage we may say, yes, we're going to bring that in, or no, don't worry about it. We'll have it's obviously something we'll have a discussion at the panel level. Okay. Oh, is this the same play? Oh no, this is the 5th innings, sorry. We've jumped to the 5th innings this time. And again, it's Palace Potter again. And she hits a lovely ball out to left field there, over the left field head, who throws it into shortstop, throws it to 2, and tags her for the out. Okay, we'll probably see the play again. No, we won't. So it's a fly ball to left field. It's over the left head of the left fielder, so it is a safe hit. Okay, so we've scored it the safe hit symbol, the one line, and then the 7 to show that it's to the left field. Left field has picked up the ball, throws into shortstop, who throws to second for the out. So the safe hit to first, as I said, do the connector between the 2 boxes there, then score the out at second, 7-6-T4. You include all of the fielders who were involved in the out, okay? So that's why the 7 and the 6, okay? The 7 and the 6 both get assists, okay? And then the 4. And you don't forget the T for the tag because the out was on in a tag, okay? When there is no tag and it's a force out, like we had in that previous innings with the 6-4, that was a force out. You don't need to put anything else there, and that shows actually that it was a force out. But when it is a tag, you show the T for the tag. Okay. Going on. Right, the next batter, we had a substitution. So I'm just going to show you here with the substitutions, how to do the substitutions here. Okay, Kingsley Avery has entered the game as a substitute, okay? So you're entering the shirt number, right? Then putting the name and the position that they're going to. If you don't know, leave it blank until later, okay? So alongside the substitute coming in, i.e. that's Kingsley Avery, right? In the S box, so you don't see it there, but there is an S, it has S and R in those 2 boxes up the top there. You put the innings, okay? So it's the 5th innings. And you put a wee dot or mark at the top to show that it's entering in the top of the innings. If she was coming in the bottom of the innings, you'd put a wee dot down the bottom, okay? And where she comes to come into bat, and you can see there, we've put it there, you put a change line, okay? That shows it's a new batter, and that shows the difference there. Just one other thing with the substitutes, you can see there that we've got it on the next line down, okay? So don't skip a line, okay? Put it on the next line down, because theoretically there could be other substitutes coming in, right? So the only time you skip a line is when you're actually doing the lineup with the designated player or designated hitter, okay? With this one, you just do it on the line straight underneath. Okay. So Avery's batting, Kingsley's batting. And she's bunted the ball. And it's picked up and it's a safe bunt. Okay. See if it comes through again. Have a look. And it's bunted towards third base. So when you're scoring a hit, and that includes a bunt, okay, you and note 3 there, you score where the ball is hit to. So it's not necessarily the fielder who picks the ball up. So in this case, it was towards third base, so you score it to 5. And you include the bunt symbol, which is the B on its side there, and the safe hit symbol. So the safe hit, the B on its side, and then where the ball goes to. Okay, and you can see in that play, you can see that whole play there now with the change line beside it. Okay. Right. We're skipping a couple. I'm skipping a couple of batters here and going on to Lara Andrews. And this is the last one we're actually going to show, but I'm going to throw the score sheet up and after this and show you some the score sheet and some plays with it. Sorry, you can hear me, hear us talking here. So what has happened here is the ball has been, oops, sorry. It's got captions. Right, it's hit to third base, who bobbles it, then throws it over to first. It's a low throw, so it's not a good throw, and Lara scampers round to second base. So the ball has hit to third base. So we're looking here at the third batter down here, who bobbles it, then recovers, throws it wild to first base, and the runner goes round to second base. This is where we've got to consider in this situation, would the third base have got the out if the throw had been on target? And looking back at it, probably yes. Okay. Although she'd bobbled it, she had time for the out. So that's why it's an errored throw, and it's an E5-3. Okay. Including the 3 also shows that it's a throw. Okay. So if we had decided that actually, no, she wouldn't have been out, but because of the bobble, she, that got her onto first base, it would be straight the E5. Okay, there wouldn't be the 3 there. By including the 3, we're showing that it's a throw, E5-3. Okay, and what I haven't put there in here, so I'm just going to discuss it here. So for the runner, okay, on 3, who advances and comes home on it, if you have a look there, there are 2 outs, okay? So because there are 2 outs, what you do is you don't score it, you score it as a reverse error, okay? 5-3-E, okay? And you put the E at the end to show that you don't count it again. So again, when we're doing our counting of all the fielding, the fielders who take outs or with the errors, we're only putting down the errors where the E is in front of the fielder. There's no E in front of a fielder there. It's at the end, so we don't double count it. And if you have a look there, it's a small E. And if we go back, for the runner going to third, coming home, it's actually an advance error. It allows her to go an extra base. She wouldn't have been out had the error not happened, but it allows her to go an extra base. However, the batter would have been out, so that for the batter, it's an out error. This is quite a complicated, quite a complicated situation. If there had only been 1 out, for example, no, I won't go into that. It's getting complicated.
Marie, I just have this message here from Karma.
Yeah.
With the mark where the ball was hit, I thought
Yeah.
that if ball hit to shortstop and throws to second base, who is covering first, then we write it up as 6-4 for the out.
Or yeah, and we did that. That's the previous play. Yes, we do, and we did that, I think, didn't we? I'll come back to that, Karma, and show you when I bring the score sheet up. I'll show that to you. Okay.
Also to note, Kelly said that the first base didn't even move her feet, so it's first base's fault.
It is not the first base's fault. It was a low ball.
She could have done better, Kelly?
Kelly's only thinking of that because her daughter's plays first base. I know that. So what I'm going to do here is just going to bring up the whole score sheet, and I'm going to go through some plays and talk about some plays here, and share the screen back for the score sheet, just to show you a few things. Okay. And unfortunately, I've got what's happening is it's taking pictures, and I'm trying to stop it taking pictures. Now I think I've stopped it taking pictures. Good-o. Right, we'll share the screen. Have I got screen sharing at the moment? No, I haven't. Hey. So do you see the score sheet there, Anthea?
Yep.
Okay, so this is the game here, and so I'm just going to go through a few plays and show you here a few plays. So we'll have a look at this one here. So when there is a what we call an unsuccessful bunt, so the ball is bunted, okay. There's no advance on that bunted ball, okay, because there's no runner. So you still do the B, that what we call the unsuccessful bunt symbol or the bunt symbol, to show that it's a an unsuccessful bunt. Okay, it just shows that it's a bunt. Okay. What was another play? Oh, so this play here, going into this one here, so when the ball is just hit to first base, who picks up the ball and puts their foot on the base, it's just a 3. Some of you had put a T3, so no, there's no tag there. It was she just picked up the ball and put her foot on the base for the out. As opposed to, and I think there was a T3 somewhere here. No, I can't find it. Okay, right. Fielding substitutes, okay? So when there's a fielding substitute on the field where they come in, so this is on the opposite side, so South Africa had changed their picture here. First of all, for any fielding substitution, we put a line across above where they come in, okay? And then when it is a pitcher, and only a pitcher, we put these lines out the side to make it look like a sort of a boat or a canoe, okay? That shows that it's a pitching change. We used to put the pitcher's name in there. We don't do that anymore because sometimes when you get double-barreled names, they can get really quite, you run out of room. But what we do put there, as you can see, is the shirt number of the person coming in. Now, up at the top of the innings, if we scroll up to the top, what we also do is put in here the positions that changed. So if you have a look here, we've got a 1. So that's the other thing that we can use this box for. So you can see here, we've put the innings in this box, and this box here, that's where we can put the positions that come in that inning. So there was only a pitching change there, so we only do that one. If I make it a bit smaller and scroll down to the next one, next side, which is the South African side, if you have a look here, this is where the White Sox made 3 changes. So they changed a pitcher, a catcher, and a right field. Okay, and here changed a centre field. So again, if we go down and have a look, there will be change lines. You can see there the change line there, and the double change line, the double line there shows that there was also other fielding changes as well. So if there's only a pitching change with these lines out the side, you just do the 1. If there is more than enough, when other fielders change at the same time, we do a double line. And what we haven't done here, what Lynette hasn't put in, is she hasn't put in the change line for the at the start of this innings here, where there was a change line here. Should have been a change line here to show that one as well. Okay. While I'm here, I'm just going to sort of show you, because I know at least one of you did this. So when you're scoring, just a reminder that you're scoring down the columns, okay? So the first column is for the first innings. The second column is for the second innings. Actually, so if we go down to the 5th, show down to the 5th here, where the 9th batter is the first batter up, and then the batter number 1 comes into the box, you still keep it in that same column. Okay? I know that there was at least one person who shifted it over to the other column and then put the 6th innings in that. You keep it in that same, so you've got it in the line and it goes up again. You can see where it starts by that that line to the side there beside the K. You've got that's the end of innings line for the previous innings, and then it goes to the next player beside it. Okay, just to go over that one there. Another thing is when we said about crediting the putouts to who you credit the strikeouts to. The strikeouts get credited to the catcher, not the pitcher. Okay, so you see here they've got 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, showing that they're all strikeouts, and the catcher gets the credit for them. The reason why is because if the catcher hadn't have caught the ball, it wouldn't have been a strikeout. The pitcher gets the credit for those strikeouts in the pitching analysis. Okay, when we come to do the pitching analysis here, it will have how many strikeouts. Okay, so for the fielding analysis, we do the 2, 2, 2, 2, or the twos. Okay. And you can see here in this innings, we were talking about assists. Okay, so you put the assists up here. Having a look at this play here, this was another play that got some of you. The ball was hit to the pitcher, who turned around and took the lead out runner, and it was the shortstop at second base who took the out. So Karma, we were talking about that the fielders who take it, although it was at second, right? It was taken by the shortstop, so that's why it's 1 to 6. We can tell that it was taken at second base because of the box that it's written in. It's written in the going to second box. Okay, we've got 1 to 6 there, and then the fielder's choice for the batter getting to first base. Again, we're thinking of fielder's choices here. The fielder chose to throw it to concentrate the play on the lead runner going to second. So the batter gets on with a fielder's choice, not with a hit. Don't put, some of you also put a hit and a fielder's choice there. It's got to be either or, okay? It can't be a safe hit because an out was taken, so it's got to be a fielder's choice, okay? No hit. And we were talking, I talked before about that. I thought there was another one where the first base actually did take the tag. They took the tag there. I might have actually marked a couple of you wrong on that. Put a yellow mark incorrectly on that one. Okay, and sorry if I did. I'll do a correction on that. What's another play here that I saw that's worthy? So we're looking here, 2 base hits, so 1 base and 2 base hits there to show, and then second with the arrow, and then coming home again there. And remember, I'd said about the wee dots. We've got this one here where that's an RBI hit because that's a run batted in this one here, and it's coming home the whole way. Here,
Marie, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
I've just got a question, and everyone probably knows the answer. So there was a bunt play, and the number went in as it went to third base, but I believe that the pitcher picked it up.
So
how does that work?
So with hits, okay, so with safe hits, you are putting where the play goes to in the field, not to the player, okay? When a player gets involved in the play, i.e. as far as taking an out or making an error, right? That's when you start to put the that's where you put the fielders, okay, where it's not a hit. So that's why we put it to 5, because it shows where the ball was hit to, okay? So it's a 5 to 5 rather than to 1 who pick up the ball. If you have a look through the score sheet there, you can see safe hits to 9. It went to right field. Remember I talked about that one potentially could have been an 8 to 9 to show it was centre right. Sometimes we might put 7, 8 for it to be a left and centre. Okay, so when it's a hit, you put where the ball was hit to. Okay, but when it's to, so for an error or it's an out, you put the fielders. So that's why when Karma was talking about the that 6 to 4 play, the ball was hit to shortstop in the shortstop position. She took the ball, but then she threw it to second base, and the second base was covering there for the out. So that's why you put the 4, right? But and then we might have a 1 to 4 play. And did we have a 1 to 4 play? Oh, I'm not sure. In this game? No, but we can see here the same thing with the 1 to 6 play. Although it was going to second, because shortstop took the out at second base, covering second, it's 1 to 6 as opposed to 1 to 4. Okay? Does that explain it? Okay.
It lost me a little bit in there, but I'm sure others will have got that. I certainly understand where the position where it's showing what base it's going to. I just thought that would have had the how do you work the assist on that if the out's taken? So first base fielded the ball, threw it down to 1.
But the pitcher you mean?
So bunt play down third baseline.
Yep.
Pitcher picked it up, and if the out's taken over at 1.
If she took the out, it would have been a bunt symbol with a 1 to 3.
With a 1. Okay.
Yep.
Yep,
right.
I'm with you.
Okay. If she'd have taken the out. She didn't take the out, so it's a it shows where it goes to. I know it's a bit confusing.
No, that completely explains it now. It's good.
Good. Hope, yeah. I know it is, and it can be really, really confusing. But the rule of thumb, if it's a hit, safe hit, it's where it's hit to. If there's a fielder involvement as far as taking it out, or a error, or even holding on to the ball for a fielder's choice, it's you put what the fielder is. It's only where there's a hit you show where the ball was hit to. So yeah, hopefully that's just that. Has anybody got any questions on that one, or are you all okay with it? Okay, so I said what I would do, and we've got about 15 minutes, is to touch briefly on analysis. So what I've got up here, and you've just seen up here, is this is actually the game that's in the front of the scorebook. But I'm just going to show you the analysis and just talk over it just to start off with, okay? So with our analysis, right, the batting analysis is straight there to the, because you can't see my mouse, can you, Anthea? You can see my mouse?
Yeah, I can see your mouse, your little hand.
Okay. Yep, okay, cool. Oh, you can. I didn't think you could. Okay, so following my little hand, yeah, I'll try not to move it too quickly. This is the batting analysis, okay? So PA means plate appearances. So that's the number of times that the person goes into the box, okay? We talked about the change lines here, right? So you count up the first one, 1, 2, 3. Went into the box 3 times. 2 is the at-bats. Now, how you calculate the at-bats is dependent on what's in these boxes here. Okay, so the next one, if there's any walks, so we go down into the 6th batter, Rick Corbett, there's a walk there. Actually, this is a really good one to show it on. I might just pump this one up a wee bit here, right? No, I won't. So there's come into the box 4 times, right? There's 1 walk there. We've got a walk. put a 1 in there, okay? Then there is one sacrifice. See, we've got a sacrifice here, SH. We put an SH there. We also have a catcher's interference. So we put a 1 into the box there. This box here is for hit pitches on the top part. You can see here we've got a hit pitch, and for catcher's interference. So what the at-bats then is the plate appearances minus all of these. Okay, so 2 plus 1 is 3. Okay, so that's why there's 2 there. 1, there's nothing in here. If we go down to here, 4, 3, and 1. Okay, 3 and 1, and we go back down to this one here, you can see 4, 1, 1, 1. So 4 minus 1 minus 1 minus 1 is 1. Okay, right. Hits. So this is the total number of safe hits, not just one base hits, but the total number of safe hits. And if we go down here to this innings here, right, this person here, there is one safe hit, which is a 2 base hit. We put a 1 in the 1 base column and a 1 also in the 2 base column. Okay, so it's a total of 1 hit. The batter above, though, if you have a look, we've got a 2 base hit and a 1 base hit. We've got the 2 safe hits plus 1. Okay, for a 2 base hit. And likewise, if we had a home run here with a home run, okay, the home run symbol, it's still a safe hit and it's a home run. Reason why we do that is when we're looking at batting averages, it's hits divided by at-bats for your batting average. So again, it's that column divided by that one. 1 for 2, the batting average for that player in that innings was 500. Okay. We put in the RBIs. We talked about the runs batted in. I'm not going to go over into calculating at this stage. We might have a look at that next week. I think we'll have a look at, sort of have a talk about that. And then the total number of strikeouts times that person was struck out. Have we got any multiple ones there? No, but you can see here, strikeout. Okay. Stolen bases and caught stealing. So if there's a stolen base along that line, so it's usually along that line, you put a SB. We got a caught stealing in here anywhere? No, we don't. Okay. Right. If a player got on with an error, we put an OE here. We put a 1 in the OE. So here, there was an FE4. Okay. So there's an error there. Next one, and this is a complicated one. If a player gets on a fielder's choice where there was no out taken, okay, we put an FC in this column. This can be quite complicated. So if we go down to this play here, right, where there's an FC 3-6, right, and we've just got a 3-6 here, and I'll explain this play. So what happened with this play here, there was a runner on 2, right, the ball was hit to the first base, who picked it up and threw it to shortstop, but it was too late for the out. There was no error there. So where there's no error, right, you think, well, okay, if the first base had concentrated play on this player, it would have been out. If they'd decided to take that one, this would have been out. You can just put the player numbers there as a 3 to 6. Okay, and then you put the player where the play wasn't on an FC 3-6. So in this situation, there's no out. Okay, so that's where we've put a fielder's choice in that column there, as opposed to these other 2 here, where there's an out up there, so we haven't put a fielder's choice there. There's an out up there, so we haven't put a fielder's choice there. The reason why we do that is when we have a look at the reach base averages, we only count the ones where there is a where they reach base without an out when we calculate those. What else here? Yeah, this is an interesting play here. I'll just do as an offside here. This was a pick-off play where the catcher picked it up and threw it to first base, and first base muffed it and let it go past them, which allowed the runner to get to second. Okay. There was no problem with the throw. Okay. Had the throw been on the bottom, the button, they still would have been there. Okay. There wouldn't have been an out. That's prolonged the life. So that's why we put the bracket round. This should have an E, small e. This is an old scoring because we only brought the e's in about 3 seasons ago. So we're going to have to update these, and it should have been a small e. Okay. But that's an interesting play. How are we time-wise? Okay. What we do also underneath is we add them up, and usually we add those up in red because this was a printed sheet. It did them all in black. So we do down the bottom here. We add them up, add the totals down here. So going across the next 3, so these are the times they reach base and the reach at bats, which reach at bats is the plate appearances plus, basically it's the plate appearances minus the sacrifices. We'll come into that line later. We're getting complicated, but that's what they stand for. Okay, we've got the assists, putouts, and errors. So this is the fielding analysis from the other side of the score sheet. So that's where you go down and count up. So for example, for the left field, you'd go along and we can't see it here because this is just a sheet one. You would go and count the number of times that 7 is in the put out column, where 4 is in the assists column, and the errors. You just have to be careful where a player plays where there's 2 positions. So you've got to, that's why when we were talking about putting in that line, you've got to then work out which player gets credited with the assists and putouts. Just a wee note, you've got your DP here. Theoretically, the flex player that they're batting for can come into bat. So you don't put a line across, you just put 2 dashes there. And where a player plays 2 positions, okay, you sort of curve it around like that to show that they played at second base and then in left field. And the substitution for that one, the way you do the substitution for that one, because it's the same person who has just changed positions, that's when you use these columns here. So you show the innings that it happened and then what position they went to. Okay, that's the only time you use those columns, when a player who is already in the field changes position, as opposed to if we go up to the top here and you can see the difference with the 7 and the 4. We're putting the 4 in there because the substitute who came in went into second base, so you can see the difference in the positions. And we'll just take a note of this one here. So when there's a pinch hitter, so they come into bat and then they go out again, you put as a pinch hitter and you put they're coming in as a substitution in the 6th innings. So if you have a look here, we've got the substitution column. Okay, and the next one, that person, so we're going along this line here, they have re-entered in the top of the 7th. Again, you see here, re-entry. We've got a runner, they've come on as a pinch runner here. We've got a line here when a runner comes on. Okay, so that's showing there's a pinch runner. Came in at the bottom of the 2nd and went out again at the top of the 3rd into the next innings. If they were staying in the field, which happened here because they came in the bottom of the 5th, see, 5th bottom, right, and then stay in the field. So you put the line and then the stay in the field, the batting line, because they're going to be coming up to bat. Okay, I think we will leave it there. We're hitting 7 o'clock. Any questions? Happy to take on questions, and I'm happy if anybody wants to stay on and discuss any of the plays from the game, the assessments game. But any questions? Covered quite a bit.
just a note there from Kelly that she struggled with the YouTube game to hear whether it was a pinch hitter or a substitution. So
yeah, that's why I had put the note there that because I know it was very hard to hear, and that's why I had put the note to say that all fielders, all players had come in and stayed in. Actually, I made a mistake there, but because one player did re-enter, but I didn't mark anybody wrong for keeping that player in, and that was yeah, I know, Jay. A lot of people couldn't hear the sound. It was very quiet. So that's why I let you know what was happening there. And sometimes it's quite good to have no sound because sometimes the commentators can lead you astray. I was able to hear it when I, have the headphones on, and I know what they were saying, that it was how it was scored was actually sometimes not what we would put here in New Zealand with scoring. They did put a couple of different things there at times, and I thought, interesting. Any other questions? I'll stop sharing. Thank you all for coming in. It's been great to have you all here, and to see you all along here. Again, any questions? I think most of you know how to get hold of me. If you don't, yeah, look me up. But it's good to see here some of you that did sit the both the foundation, and it was really good. All of you who are here and did the foundation all passed. So congratulations for all of you passing the foundation. Okay, really good. Really, really pleased with that. So well done. And then we've got Kelly here, who went on and passed the level 1 and the level 2. Now, I haven't marked all of the level 1s, and so that's why I haven't sent the results out for you. I prioritised doing the level 2s because those who passed the level 2 needed to be able to have the opportunity to apply for a tournament to do their qualification. So that's why Kelly knows she's passed. The other ones, I haven't finished doing the analysis, finished doing the marking of the level 1s. Hopefully I will do by the end of tomorrow, and I will send you your game. Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Marie.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
If no one's got any other questions, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Marie. It was great, insightful again. Every time I get to join in on these, I get to learn something new, which is really, really good for me as well. Please, if you do want to reach out and you do need some help, if you don't have Marie's contact details, do come through Canterbury Softball. We can certainly point you in the right direction, that you can get some help from her. She's always willing to help, and is doing a great job here for the education and upskilling and bringing in new scorers for our game, which is so important for our game. So thank you very much, team. We'll end it there. So, yeah.
Thank you. Can I just say very quickly, Anthea, just for those who did do the level 1, if you would think you would find it helpful for me to go through the entire game with you, and what there, let us know. You can put a thumbs up or something like that, and I will try and run a session for all of those who did level 1 to go through the whole game, if you think that would be helpful. Okay. Cool. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Yeah.